Okay, so welcome to today's video. This is Concussion here, or Mac if you want to call me that. Whatever name you prefer, I don't really mind too much whatever you call me. But I am here today, and if I'm assuming if you clicked on the thumbnail, you know why I'm here. We're doing Kaneki Ken versus Alex Mercer. The reason I picked this fight was because honestly it just seemed very interesting to me. There were two similar characters, as in they kind of fight the same way, but they kind of don't. So it seemed like an interesting matchup for me. They both have similar properties, so I was wondering who would actually win in this fight. So yeah, we're going to get into that right now, and this is going to be super interesting. For this particular scenario, I'm only going to use one version of Kaneki, and that's because, honestly, I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think the earlier versions of Kaneki has a chance of soundly defeating Mercer, just because of how insanely strong Alex Mercer is. So I'm going to be using the post-dragon Kaneki because that's his strongest form that we've seen throughout the series. For Alex Mercer, I'm going to use his end-of-game prototype 2 after he consumed all 8 of the evolved, and yes, so this is going to be very interesting. There's going to be two variations of this fight that I wanted to go into, and that was basically like in the flower field that Kaneki fought Arima, so it's like a pure one-on-one battle, so no really tactics will go into it. What I mean by that is no outside forces are going to interfere with this particular scenario. So the second version of the fight, I'm going to put them on the streets of Tokyo. Into this fight, I'm going to break down Alex Mercer, what he's capable of, and then I'm going to break down Kaneki, what he's capable of, how he fights, all that. So I'm going to start off with Alex Mercer. So in terms of like speed, he's not like the fastest character in terms of like running speed. In game, he runs about 60-80 miles an hour, but his reaction speed is very crazy, at least for the video game limitations that they put on him. But since we have nothing else to really go off of saying that he can move faster, I'm just going to go with that. And in game, he shows a reaction feat of dodging a tank shell, and tank shells move at about Mach 4.6. That's at the very beginning of the game, and he gets many times stronger by consuming very powerful enemies throughout all the games, and it put him about hypersonic, and that's like Mach 5 through 10, so I'm just going to say he can move about Mach 7, because that's a good middle of the road estimation of his like reactionary speed, because he is very agile when it comes to his like sidestep dodge. It's going to be very important for this fight when Kaneki is such a fast character, and I'm going to get into how fast Kaneki is in just a second. Honestly, there's no definite like power scale of how much stronger he is, but it's not too far-fetched to assume that he's gotten at least twice as fast in all the people he's consumed, because he's gotten at least twice as strong, if not more. But there's no definite scale on how much stronger he has gotten, except for showing how big the tendrils are at the very end of the game when it showed how much biomass that Heller gained from consuming him. There's no he got twice as strong from absorbing Elizabeth Green. He got 4 times as strong when he consumed all 8 of the evolved. Yeah, I'm going into this assuming that you know a little bit about each of the characters, so this breakdown is going to be a little bit lighter. Well, in terms of speed, like Kaneki's a lot faster than Alex Mercer. That's going to be a big factor into this fight, is how fast Kaneki is, and like how Alex Mercer is going to deal with his speed. But I'm going to get into that a little bit later. In terms of stamina, Alex Mercer literally has endless stamina because he doesn't actually have organs. He literally is a blob of biomass in human form that can take any form in general. So in terms of like stamina in this fight, Kaneki has a set stamina because he still has organs, and he is shown to have a limit of terms of he can get tired, and Alex Mercer really can't. And his biomass just determines how fast he can regenerate, but he can't actually run out of himself. He actually really can't run out of stamina, so it's very interesting for that. In terms of like attack potency, Alex Mercer has been scaled around town level, and that scale goes from James Heller when he killed all the infected at the end of Prototype 2. The tendrils go as big as, some of the tendrils are as big as skyscrapers, basically like scales to the size of that, which is kind of how Kaneki scales too. Post-Dragon Kaneki kind of scales to his dragon form, which is based purely on the size of the dragon form, and then he also scales to Furata. So in terms of Alex Mercer's speed, when he fights people, he uses that speed mostly for evasion, but mostly he has insane durability. His durability is nothing to joke at, honestly, because he tanked a military base exploding on top of him, and he was just like, meh. And that was at the very beginning of the game. And he got many times stronger throughout Prototype 1 and at the very end of Prototype 2 when he consumed basically 8 evolved, which were basically comparable to his Prototype 1 self. So his durability is literally nothing to joke at. And his regen on top of that makes him a very hard fighter to kill. The hardest thing Kaneki's gonna have to deal with in this fight is Alex Mercer's durability and his regeneration on top of that, because Kaneki, honestly, his attacks, he's a very strong character and he's a very fast character, but he doesn't have the strength to one-shot Alex Mercer. He doesn't have the strength to completely pierce through Alex Mercer's armor and turn him into a puddle. I don't think he has the strength for that in terms of like his attacks. In terms of like how Alex fights, I'm assuming a lot of you know, but I'm just going to go over a little bit in case for some of you who do not. He can completely shapeshift his body to fit whatever he needs, from sword arms to claws to ground spikes to hammer fist. Muscle mass increases, which basically increases his lifting strength. He has armor, he has a shield, he has infrared vision, infected vision, and he can shapeshift into other people. And he's literally an extremely versatile fighter. Kaneki does a lot of the same things with his Kugane, but this is the Alex Mercer section, so I'm gonna stop talking about Kaneki so much. So a lot of the things that Kaneki's gonna have to watch out for is Alex Mercer's like aerial attacks, because he can jump ridiculously high, he can run up buildings with his speed, and he's very dangerous over short distances. And he's a very powerful fighter. Like, a lot of his strikes are going to be able to break through Kaneki's defenses, because this will be basically the strongest person that Kaneki, like in terms of physical strength, it'll be the strongest person that Kaneki has ever fought before. But that's it for the Alex Mercer section of this video. I'm going to move on to Kaneki. So in terms of like speed, Kaneki is way faster than Alex Mercer. He has shown like the ability to dodge lightning when he was fighting Arima, so that immediately puts him leagues above Alex Mercer in terms of speed. I looked at the calc for how fast it was, like how fast he was, and he was mocked like 157 or something like that, and that puts him like 24 times faster than Alex Mercer. So in terms of speed, Kaneki is a lot faster than Alex Mercer, so he's gonna have a very hard time hitting him when Kaneki has his full guard up. And if he does manage to hit him, Kaneki has something going for him that Alex Mercer doesn't, and that's Kaneki goes crazy a lot, especially when he's in a lot of pain. And what his body will do is adapt to that pain and make himself stronger. And right now, Kaneki's strength and Alex Mercer's strength, they're very close together. Kaneki comes in about around small town level because he compared to the dragon, his dragon form. And Alex Mercer comes in about town level because of his scale to the Tendrils at the end of Prototype 2. So like the scale is, they're pretty close to each other. And I think that if like the longer the fight goes on, if Alex Mercer just doesn't kill him outright in one shot, then Kaneki has the potential to honestly get to the same strength level as Alex Mercer. There's nothing Alex Mercer is going to be able to do. If he has the same strength as Alex Mercer, he just completely outclasses him at that point, because Kaneki can regenerate like Alex can, like obviously not to the extent, because Alex Mercer can regenerate from a puddle, but Kaneki has really high regen. In terms of like this fight though, he can only probably tank about 2 or 3 hits from Alex Mercer, unless they're like one shots. Like if Alex Mercer cuts him in half, then the fight's over. But in terms of like getting his arms or legs cut off or getting like sliced really badly, Kaneki has the potential to adapt. He'll get a Kakuja mask, and he'll literally like, he'll go crazy and he'll get an extreme power increase output thing. In terms of like fighting styles, they're both extremely agile, as in they like to jump around and do lots of flips. Kaneki is a lot more agile than Alex Mercer though, because he's smaller in terms of build, but they're both extremely agile fighters. They both do a lot of similar things. Like they both have been shown to run up buildings, but Alex Mercer has devastating aerial attacks that if Kaneki tries to block, he is basically screwed. Kaneki is, at the end of the series, he's no joke either, but there's no way he is blocking the aerial sword attack, because that is the strongest move in the game. The only hope Alex Mercer has to deal with his speed, because Alex Mercer also has all these crazy close-up attacks, and if Kaneki's in range and Alex Mercer does a Devastator, Kaneki's kind of screwed, honestly. All right, so in terms of experience, Alex Mercer and Kaneki, I would say that they're either equal or Kaneki has more, because Alex Mercer has the experience of every single person he's ever consumed, and that is a lot of military personnel. And he like learns it. He has complete knowledge of everything they've ever learned. Like he's able to fly helicopters, tanks, and etc. Like literally just by consuming the person that was able to pilot it. And Kaneki has like a lot of years of experience over Alex in terms of like actually fighting people at high speeds and that are stronger than him, because he also trained with the CCG, and he trained with literally like one of the best soldiers in the world ever with Arima, and he learned how to use swords, and he can use swords with his Kugane. And I don't know if I'm saying Kugane wrong, but basically because of that, like they're both extremely smart people and smart fighters. So I don't know, like that is going to be a huge decider in this fight. Is I don't know how this fight would go. I overlapped a little bit, but basically I want you to understand each character now on how I think this fight would go. In the same like flower field that Kaneki fought Arima, it's honestly hard to say, because how I predict this fight going is Alex Mercer doing the first attacks and Kaneki like dodging, like because he is extremely maneuverable. He's going to be dodging. He's going to let his guard down because Kaneki's going to read the slowness of these attacks and not really understand how strong they are. And he's going to try to block one of these head on. And Alex Mercer is going to literally slice through his Kugane and slice into him really deeply. And if he doesn't kill him in that one shot, then I think Kaneki has this it's not in the bag, but it's going to be an extremely intense fight, because I think Kaneki's going to adapt to be just as strong as him in terms of attack potency. And then Alex Mercer won't even be able to touch him, honestly, because Kaneki's like 27 times faster than Alex Mercer. Alex Mercer won't even be able to touch him once he's serious. But if that doesn't happen and they're trading blows and Alex Mercer doesn't do, like, this is all on the assumption that Kaneki's going to adapt and get stronger once Alex Mercer near deaths him. Because if Alex Mercer lands any of his strikes, honestly, Kaneki's going to be near death, because that'll be the strongest hit that Kaneki's ever had to face before. So if Alex Mercer doesn't one-shot Kaneki, then the fight's going to go on for a very long time. So at first, Alex Mercer is going to have a hard time touching Kaneki unless Kaneki gets in close and thinks he can stab Alex Mercer through the chest and kill him that way. Because then Alex Mercer can do a Tendril, like a Devastator, and he'll kill Kaneki in that moment. Or if he doesn't kill Kaneki through like the many projectiles impaling his body, then Kaneki will adapt. He'll get a Kakuja, get a mask, and his body will get taken over and he'll get stronger. But if that doesn't happen, then what's going to happen is, because of Alex Mercer's basically limitless stamina, Kaneki's going to hit a limit, and Alex Mercer is going to use an opportunity to either cut him in half, cut his head off, or slice him. Like literally, he has to one-shot him in order to honestly win this fight. Well, his speed is just too much for Alex to deal with, to be completely honest. I think Alex Mercer's moveset is either going to take Kaneki off guard and one-shot him, or Kaneki's going to adapt and get stronger once he hits his limit and Alex Mercer critically damages him. This fight completely depends on if Alex Mercer can one-shot Kaneki or not. Because if he can't, then I think honestly Kaneki wins. Because if Kaneki is that much faster than Alex, his attacks are going to actually hurt him. And Alex is going to run out of biomass like he did with Heller and not be able to like have high speed regeneration. Like he'll literally be a puddle on the ground. I mean, technically that won't be like a kill, but it's extremely hard to kill Alex Mercer. And if Kaneki sees that he's regenerating, I'm pretty sure he'd be able to find a way to like deal with him somehow, especially if like he's slowly regenerating. But technically I'm going to count that as a victory for Kaneki, and Kaneki's either going to eat him or Alex Mercer's just going to be like basically dismembered on the floor. And Kaneki's gonna like he's gonna use his Kakuja to really mess him up, honestly. If Kaneki doesn't take him seriously, then Alex Mercer can literally cut him in half. Then Kaneki won't be able to do anything, especially if he like cuts his head off or anything, because we've seen characters of Kaneki's caliber survive getting cut off from the waist. So it would literally have to be like a completely bisected or a complete decapitation. Otherwise, Kaneki, I believe, will adapt and be able to take on Alex. Because if Kaneki doesn't, let's be honest, all of Alex's attacks will severely injure him, because that will be the strongest person he's ever faced. They're both extremely agile characters too. I don't know. I don't see Kaneki being able to straight up block any of Alex's attacks without being critically injured, because we've seen that Kaneki's Kugane are able to be cut through, like if it's a strong enough attack. If he tries to honestly outright block any of Alex's attacks, it's going to severely injure him. So in terms of straight out fighting, it could go either way. I'm completely honest. I don't know who would win this fight. If it's in terms of attrition, yes, Alex can last longer than he can fighting wise, because Kaneki won't be able to severely damage him. But if Kaneki adapts and gets stronger, if Alex actually lands a good hit in and he doesn't kill him right away, then Kaneki's honestly gonna evolve. I believe that's what would happen. Now let's see what would happen if they're in a Tokyo setting. That puts the odds a lot more in Alex Mercer's favor because he can shapeshift. If he starts being overwhelmed by Kaneki's speed, he has a lot higher of a chance to be able to transform into somebody else, get behind him, and he has a lot higher chance of one-shotting him because it takes a second for Kaneki to honestly transform. And if Alex Mercer gets any headshots in, then his brain will be scrambled. But to be completely honest, Kaneki has a lot harder of a time winning in the streets of Tokyo just because of how versatile Alex becomes in that scenario. Like, he will literally be able to attack him from any angle. The odds go in a lot more in Alex's favor, though. And if Kaneki actually ends up eating Alex in any of the scenario, there's a debate on whether or not Alex will be able to consume Kaneki from the inside. But I don't know if that would happen if Kaneki were to eat him. I'm ruling out that as a win for Mercer, but I'm going to vote a win for Kaneki, at least completely defeating Alex Mercer, basically draining him of biomass so he can't height speed regenerate anymore and dismembering him. So basically, if he tries to slowly regenerate, kind of keep killing him over and over and over again, then Alex will be screwed. There's a lot of threads I saw about Alex being able to instant consume him and win that way. And to those of you who say that, he can't instant consume people that have a very strong willpower or are close to strength as him. And that was shown when he tried to consume Heller and he couldn't. And I'm assuming Kaneki actually has a very strong will once he gets going. Once he gets his mind made up, he actually has a strong will to live. If he was fighting a depressed Kaneki, he would honestly be able to consume him really easily. But a very strong-willed Kaneki is not something you want to deal with. So in terms of if they were fighting straight out, I honestly don't know who would win. It's very complicated. This is a very tricky fight because they both have very similar fighting styles and they both have super high regen. To be completely honest, I don't know who would win in the first scenario, but in the second scenario, Alex Mercer would use the city to his advantage, be able to do some aerial attacks from buildings, be able to sneak up behind him, be literally dressed as a civilian and trick him and take him out that way, which is more Alex Mercer's aesthetic. He is used to shapeshifting. He's used to tricking his opponents that way. So in the city, Alex Mercer probably wins in about depending on how off guard he catches Kaneki, I'm gonna guess a 6 out of 10 difficulty. But he especially if he does an aerial sword attack, which will most likely kill Kaneki in one shot. He needs to one-shot Kaneki, otherwise he's gonna Kaneki will start doing the adaption thing. But in the city, Alex Mercer has a really high chance of running away and ambushing Kaneki. So in the city, I'm gonna give it to Alex, but one-on-one straight up in the field, I don't know. That's kind of 50-50 depending on how the fight goes. So I honestly don't know who's gonna win that particular battle. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. Please let me know what you think down in the comments below. And I will see you guys on the next video I do. Please leave suggestions for who you think should fight. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching me, liking me, subscribing me. And yeah, this is Concussion Media, and I'm out.